Hey everybody. Alright, so you're probably looking at this configuration and wondering what the hell we're doing, but I did say I was going to do a mock-up of a dummy motor and just see what I could see where we could get to. The dowel I used for the cylinders is 3/8 wood dowel, and the crankcase I just laminated 3 sheets of balsa this thick, whatever that is. I don't know what that is, 1/4 inch probably. Laminated 3 of those together and cut out in a 9-sided shape. 9 sides because of the 9 cylinders. And then glued the dowel rods to that after I wrapped them. First wrapped them with thread and then stuck them on there onto the crankcase. And as far as the nose goes, or the front of the crankcase, or the crankcase bell housing, if you want to call it that, this part here. And I'm not sure I'm going to keep that solder wrapped around. I've wrapped one piece of solder here to represent the wiring harness, and I'll probably leave that on. I'm just not sure of this one on here, but I might leave that on as well to simulate the bolt flange on this one. Flange that goes all the way around the bell housing, and it's a flange for bolting it onto the face of the crankcase itself. And I don't have a better way of replicating that, so I might just use the solder. Again, it'll be painted in the overall engine color, and in this case this will be painted in the crankcase color, which is a light, well, more of a medium blue-gray color. So paint will make a difference. And again, here on the cylinder head support flange, that's just cardstock, and that'll be painted black. I just applied it tonight with using the sand and seal to laminate 2 pieces of cardstock together. Just made a solid strip about 3/8 wide, and then after it hardened with the sand and seal, I was able to cut out then the notches as they would appear in the reference photos I have of a twin radial wasp engine. Okay, so we'll get the wiring harnesses. I'll be drilling in the cylinder heads for the wiring harnesses. These are going to get the rocker cylinder heads still yet to be applied to them, and I'm only going to apply the cylinder heads to the front 9 cylinders. I'm not going to worry about the back 9 because, again, everything's going to be buttoned up in here, so there's no need to finish those off. No one would be able to see that detail. So we'll just detail up the cylinder heads on the front 9 cylinders. We'll get this buckled up once I finish shaping it. I'm not finished shaping it. This is just stuck on just for reference, just so I could see what it looked like. Here's what it would look like without that, and I think I am going to use that as a flange. But that could, I mean, it depends on what this looks like when I get it up. So it's almost completely sanded. I did have to cut out and enlarge this hole here so that I could insert. In other words, if this were surface mounted, it would be too long. It would protrude too far, and the nose of the crankcase bell housing would be way out here, and it shouldn't really stick out much more, really at all, I think, from the front of this. I'll have to double check my reference photos, but I believe when the engine's in there and when this is on, it should appear flush with the face of the cowling. But I'll check that and make sure. It might stick out just a bit, but I think it's flush with the face of the cowling, and then the prop hub is on a short shaft extension so that the propeller clears clears the cowling. But I'll make sure. So whatever that depth needs to be, that's where this motor will be set. I'll either recess it, fully, or I'll leave it out just enough. And this gives us room also to square the motor, so we can get it in there, so it's not cocked this way, or up or down. We have to make sure. When I'm getting that located in there, we've got a top dead center cylinder, and then we've got it flat and square to the firewall, so that it's not tilted in any direction. All right. So anyway, that's where the motor sits at this point. Just real basic, just wrapped with thread, cylinder heads, crankcase, and yet to come are the valve rockers on top, the valve rocker posts, the electrical harness and wiring for the plug wires, and I think that's about it. Once all that is done, I'll be able to make the scoop partition that goes underneath it. Picture that here for reference. This piece here. So there will be a part that I'll fabricate that'll attach right onto the face of this bulkhead here. That'll fit just inside of our cowling, and then once that's in position, I'll then take the knife and carefully cut out the lower portion of this, so that our scoop will be open underneath. When you look in there, it'll be as if that is an open scoop that leads back to the supercharger. And then we'll get everything painted up in the interior green color prior to the installation of our cowling. So lots of fine work yet to do. All the blunt work has been done. Now it's time for a little bit of finesse to try and create more of a Pratt & Whitney twin wasp look for our engine, and a more proper and complete look for our engine and cowling than this would have been. Right? This would not have been good enough for me anyway. I don't know. I know they can be painted up, and this can be detailed, and you can simulate a wiring harness and all that stuff with these. But it just wasn't going to cut it, for my kit. So that's when you build yours, or when you see one that's been built up and it looks okay, then that's fine. Whatever looks good to you is good, is what I always say. And so for me, this is what I wanted to have it, to try and get it to look good for me, right? And you'll see once we get everything all tidied up and painted up and detailed, hopefully we'll have what looks like a decent representation of an R2800 radio engine. All right. Okay, so everything else is the same. Nothing else has changed. I've been focused just on that motor, and for all the good it's done me, that's as far as I've gotten. But it's a start. All right, thanks for watching, and appreciate y'all. Have a great day. Happy Thanksgiving and happy holidays.